Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including DirecTV and Spectrum may have just killed 30 cable TV networks. We'll tell you why. Spectrum says they may be dropping even more cable TV networks from their lineup. We'll tell you what they said during their earnings call and give you an insight on how many cable subscribers they lost. And lastly, YouTube TV has avoided a major blackout of many popular channels. We'll have everything we know about that major blackout and more here in a second. First though, if you want to learn more about these stories, check out the show notes and in the first pinned comment. I'll put a link to each story there so you can read them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, because it helps us, because YouTube recommends our videos to more people, helping us grow, hopefully helping you break free from the high cost of TV, but still watch the shows you enjoy. So with that said, let's dive in, starting off with DirecTV and Spectrum may have just killed 30 cable networks. Now, DirecTV came out and did an interview recently, and they talked about the Spectrum deal. Now, the DirecTV executive came out and said, hey, we really like what Spectrum did when they struck a deal with Disney to include Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, but drop 8 cable channels. He went on to say that many of these smaller cable channels are basically just not needed anymore. And because of that, this puts many small cable channels at risk. Now, many of these small channels, like MTV2, Nick Jr., and more, are already bubble channels that are struggling with viewership. If both Spectrum and DirecTV drop them, that could result in many, that's the number 2 and the number 3 largest providers of cable TV in the United States dropping your channels. It's probably a loss of subscriber revenue that many of these channels couldn't survive. You're saying, Luke, but Spectrum only dropped Disney channels. Well, on Friday they gave us their earnings report and we saw how much they lost. But they also came out and said, hey, we're not done. That Disney deal was just beginning. We're going to demand similar deals from all the major media companies. And if they don't agree to a deal like Disney did, we're just not going to carry their channels. They said there's no reason to have all these sub-channels. They pointed to their new streaming player out there, the Xumo box, which is a partnership with Comcast, to say, hey, you know, if Paramount doesn't agree, well, people can just go get Paramount Plus through our Xumo box. We don't need to be offering it on a cable network. Again, both DirecTV and Spectrum, number 3 and number 2 largest cable TV companies. By the way, Spectrum is only about 100,000 subscribers or so behind Comcast now in TV subscribers. If both of those drop, so you're talking 20 plus million people no longer subscribing to those channels, huge negative impact for these companies out there. So we'll be very cautiously watching this, but I do predict that in the next few years, many of these smaller channels, the Nick Jr.'s, the MTV2s, and more, are going to vanish. Partially Nick Jr. because a lot of kids don't watch cable anymore. Seen a lot of reports out there that things like Cartoon Network and even the Disney Channel are increasingly seeing a majority of their audience be 18 and older, which is probably why Cartoon Network is expanding Adult Swim, and during part of that, bringing back early Cartoon Network shows, 2000 era Cartoon Network shows, as part of an effort to reach out to this audience who's looking at Cartoon Network for more a nostalgic factor, maybe as in their 30s and 40s and so on, then they are more looking at it for entertainment for their kids. So we'll see what happens. But let me know, what networks do you think should be shut down first if you had to pick? All right, YouTube TV and Paramount have reached a deal to avoid a blackout. Very briefly, last week, YouTube TV posted a message on their site saying Paramount, because of negotiations with Paramount, their channels will be no longer available starting October 25th with on YouTube TV. Because of that, they were going to temporarily drop the price down to $66.99 during the blackout that would have affected networks owned by Paramount, including CBS, Nickelodeon, Paramount, and more. Now, this was very quickly there and then very quickly gone. The channel has never actually left. A reader got a screenshot, sent it in to us, and we tracked down both Paramount and YouTube TV, and we're finally able to get a response over the weekend about it that said that they have a deal in place that will keep these channels on YouTube TV. Now the question is, for how long? I don't know. It was meant to go dark on October 25th. That's when their original contract ended, and they struck a deal to extend it past that. How much farther past that, we don't know. both sides have declined to comment when we asked how long of a deal this was. So at least now for a temporary deal, we have this in place. Good news for NFL fans yesterday, your CBS games continue to be aired on YouTube TV. We'll have to keep a very close eye on this. But for now, the best response we got was that a deal has been reached to, at least at the time, avert a blackout. So good news for YouTube TV subscribers that enjoy Paramount programming. All right, let's keep moving along. Now, we talked about how Comcast and Spectrum have lost a lot of subscribers. We talked about how Spectrum is going to play hardball with some of these companies. Well, in total, so far this year, Comcast and Spectrum have lost 2.4 million TV customers. This puts them on track to have more than 3 million lost TV customers just from those two companies. That's a pretty massive loss this year. Of course, Spectrum in the third quarter of 2023 lost 320,000 TV customers and lost 288 traditional voice line customers. That's a large number of voice line customers right there too. Now they did add wireless customer and they did add 63,000 internet customers, but let's put a caveat with that. Unlike Comcast, who reported a loss of residential customers, Spectrum does not break out residential and small business customers. They kind of group them together. Is that because they're hiding the losses? I don't know, but they don't disclose independently. But even when you have residential and the small mid-sized businesses, they only added 63,000 internet customers in a time when 5G home internet customers are adding hundreds of thousands of customers. We'll have to keep a close eye on this, but not a good look for cable TV. We'll have to keep a very close eye on this. All right, deal of the day. There's a really good deal on Fire TVs if you have been thinking about getting the new Fire TV Stick 4K Max, which is what I'm behind, the most powerful Fire TV Stick ever made with Wi-Fi 6E, really good Wi-Fi, good processor, and all kinds of stuff. For a limited time, it is on sale for just $39.99. Now, you have to qualify, being a Prime customer, use the code in the post down below. You have to use that code at checkout to get this price. If you don't, it is on sale for $44.99, which is a nice sale, but the $39.99 needs the code at checkout. Check out the post down below. All right, a lot of other news, so let's kind of jump through it. Paramount last week announced that they're going to be merging the tech teams of Pluto TV and Paramount Plus. Now, when I wrote this story, even though we said tech team in the title, some people thought this meant that the apps were going to be merging, that the services were merging. No. Pluto TV and Paramount Plus are remaining independent services, but the teams that develop the apps used to be two independent teams. Now they're going to be merging those two teams into one team that'll be developing for both Paramount Plus and Pluto TV here. So keep that in mind. It's just the tech teams that develop the apps. It's not the actual apps merging. The services are remaining independent. Pluto TV will continue to be free. Paramount Plus will continue to be a paid service. All right, we talked about the growth of 5G home internet. Get this, in the third quarter of 2023, Verizon and T-Mobile added 941,000, so a little under 1 million new 5G internet customers just in 3 months. I've talked about the growth of cord cutting 2.0, this idea that we're going to be, that's what I get for editing some videos while I left that running. We've been talking about the growth of cord cutting 2.0, this idea here that we can save money and completely break free from the high cost of TV, not just and cable companies. So we've already dumped Comcast, Spectrum, and more cable companies for TV, but now we're dumping them for home internet. And that's where the cord cutting 2.0 comes in. Well, it seems like a lot of people are doing it. Comcast lost home internet customers. Spectrum did not disclose the divide between home and small businesses, but only added a very small number in the grand scheme of things with that. And you can see here, 941,000 people ditched or switched to 5G home internet in the second quarter. That's up from the 890,000 that did it in the second quarter. So millions of people this year are going to be switching to 5G home internet. And I suspect that that ball is going to continue to roll into new options. In my neighborhood, we already had AT&T fiber. We already had a cable internet service here. A new fiber company is running lines through our neighborhood right now to give us a second fiber option. I was shocked. We have both Verizon and T-Mobile home internet. And, of course, there's other options like Starlink and more coming out in the United States. So keep an eye on it. All right, moving along to the last two stories. One of the big concerns about next-gen TV, the ATSC 3.0, the free over-the-air television, has been the built-in DRM. Now, they came out at the time a few months ago and said, hey, as long as the ATSC 1.0 runs, TV stations cannot put any limits on DVRs. They can't use the DRM to block you from recording a show, can't block you from saying, hey, how long you could have it, how many times you could watch it, block your ability to fast forward through commercials and more. Well, now the organization behind this, according to the Zapper Box, who manufactures one of these DVRs for ATSC 3.0 tuners, says that those limitations will be permanent even after ATSC 1.0 shuts down. They will not allow TV stations to block your ability to fast forward through ads, block your ability to record shows, or tell you how long you can keep DVR programming. We'll see what happens, but that's good news. I do like that they are saying, hey, we heard your complaints, we're doing some efforts to address that. We'll see how it plays out. If you want all the limitations that they put on TV stations and what they can do with the DVR, the DRM on the DVR and not do, check out the post down below. And last story before we get into the Q&A, Frndly TV's added another Hallmark holiday channel, the Hallmark Yule channel, which is a 24/7 feed of a fireplace with Hallmark movie, music, and more playing on it, is now live on Frndly TV. It's a seasonal holiday channel, and it will run through the holidays here. So if you love Yule log playing in the background as you're getting in the holiday mood here, I know Halloween is tomorrow, but if you're already ready for Christmas, check it out. All right, Q&A. I take questions from the comments of these videos and answer them at the end of the video, 1 or 2 questions. If you have a question for me, start your comment with question for Luke or something like that, so I know it's a question to be answered here. Question today comes from David, who says, hi Luke, do you see cable companies going away from traditional cable into all streaming? So this idea here is that, like we've seen with some smaller cable companies, that they have shut down their traditional TV service and gone streaming only. And replace it either with something like YouTube TV, DirecTV Stream, or launch their own streaming. Now, Spectrum has announced that they're going streaming first, so new customers are being promoted the Xumo player box to new customers to stream. And they're not really kind of sneaking it in there. They're just like, hey, we got this new device here to watch your cable TV. They're not telling you that it's streaming, not traditional cable with it. But that's not really important. I think most people won't ever notice. But what this will do in the long run, if they are able to move all customers from streaming over, or from cable to over streaming, the entire bandwidth of that copper cable that goes, or whatever they're using to run it to your home, could then be used for internet. They wouldn't have to set some of that aside for TV, which eats up some of the bandwidth, which limits how fast they can make the internet. So I do think because of that, eventually they will. Will it be soon? For some companies, yes. Wouldn't surprise me if in the next 5 years, Spectrum is shutting down its traditional internet cable service, because they've already said they're upgrading their entire network of customers, so all customers could get gig internet or faster through Spectrum. Wouldn't surprise me when they finish that in 2025 or 2026 that they're now talking about, that they say, hey, everything is streaming, you have to get a flex streaming player, traditional cable is dead, move over. We've seen that in a few smaller markets with smaller cable TV providers, but it wouldn't surprise me to see more do it, because it will allow them to put everything into their internet service, which is their big moneymaker now. But not anytime soon. I don't expect Comcast to do it soon. I don't expect Spectrum to be doing it this year, and more. So with it, that's it. That's it today. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care. Be safe. I'll talk to you all again tomorrow. Happy early Halloween, everybody.